Welcome to Center and Circle, where we explore the space between who we are and the world we shape together.
A monthly space for grounded, honest conversations that bridge personal growth and collective wellness. Welcome to our center.
Welcome back to the Center and Circle podcast, where we are continuing to explore the space between who we are and the world we shape together. I'm Diane Carrion, a board member here at the Tengu Center.
And my name is Arifa Bevan. I'm the founding board chair of the Tengu Center. And I am truly excited about today's discussion and our incredible guest whom we have with us today. And so it is with immense joy that we welcome the wonderful Stacey Lauren, who is the Director of Operations at the Veterans Miracle Center in Albany, New York. Welcome to the Center and Circle podcast, Stacey.
It's such an honor to be here with you, amazing ladies. It's such an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, as we do on all our podcasts, and actually any meeting that Arifa and I are in, we have a centering moment. And so that's our time to just sort of center ourselves. So for this episode, we're really excited that Stacey's going to lead us through our centering moment. So Stacey, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, when I was speaking to Arifa, I happened to look down. She was talking to me about this centering moment. And I happened to look down at a journal that is always on my desk. And this journal says, and it's right next to me, so I'm reading it. Attract what you expect, reflect what you desire, become what you respect, and mirror what you admire.
Yeah, I love the last part of it, especially mirror what you admire, especially because, Stacey, you are absolutely someone that I admire. It has been, like a couple years, Stacey, since you and I first connected. And for those who don't know, Stacey actually partnered with the Tengu Center.
It's the greatest. Yeah.
Back in September of 2024, we had an event on Community Studios. This was an expressive arts event where our veterans had the opportunity to connect with us and each other and express themselves creatively and just engage in awesome conversations. We will definitely share those photos as well for you all. But one thing I want to say about that event and in meeting Stacey before that time as well is I just remember thinking at that time and when we first met that Stacey carries so much light with her. There's this genuine warmth that you immediately feel. It's the way that she shows up, the way that she connects, the way that she gives. We had clicked right away. And I've shared this with her before, but I just think it's important to share here that Stacey has a presence that uplifts others in a very real and genuine way. And the work that she's doing and the mission behind it, it aligns so naturally with the center, but more than that is just who she is and what she brings into spaces like this that we can all use so much more of. And so it's a long way of saying that we're glad that you're here.
You make me cry.
You are absolutely incredible. And I just hope to be more like you every single day. And you truly are inspiring and someone to admire, really.
I love the way that you responded to that quote, Arifa, because it is important to remind ourselves of the people that we keep. I think that's a lot of what that quote kind of hit with me. That saying that what is it, for the job you want or the professional that you want to be. And I think that that's so true in life, right? Like you want to live the kind of life that you want to lead, and that I think listening to that quote, that's what I thought about, who you mirror, who you keep company with, all of those things keep you in that space that you want to be in. And so I think that's the way it resonated with me.
Diane, that's funny that you brought that up. Yeah, because I actually did a post a long time ago on my Instagram and Facebook. And it said, I forgot what it was, but it was show up to work based on your personality, right? And it was a picture of Glinda, the Good Witch. Right? So with a big, poofy pink dress, right? And I thought it would be really funny to actually show up at work wearing something like that, because that's what I actually feel like that, right? I'm telling, Dorothy's saying there's no place like home, and the veterans are coming in, and I'm saying you are home, right? This is it. This is where home is, It's in you, and it's in me, and we're gonna bring you into that space where you feel safe and you feel like you're home. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I love that, Stacey, and about the space that you create. Honestly, when again I mentioned how I felt walking in, and you mentioned a bit about how our veterans feel walking in, but can you touch a little bit more on that and share a little bit more about VMC and the work that you do and just all of the amazing folks who come through the door every single day?
Absolutely. Okay, so Veterans Miracle Center on paper, right, is a store. It's a store, a retail store. So everything is brand new, but it's free. Everything is free for our veterans and our active military. And we also serve widows of military. We serve their children up to the age of 16. We serve wives, husbands, and wives. And when I say serve, I mean serve, because we lead with love and we are all servant leaders there, right? This is what I train my staff to be. We are all servant leaders. So all of us are doing all the jobs. So as soon as a veteran comes in, and it's not a job, job's the wrong word. It really is. It's just, it's a heart to show our gratitude, to literally show our gratitude, right? So when our vets come in, they tangibly feel our gratitude. So we go in, when they come in, it's, hey, whoever it is who's walking in, if it's a Vietnam vet, it's welcome home. Whatever veteran it is, whoever's coming in, they're going to come in and they're going to feel love. It's like it's at my grandma's kitchen table, right? So you're coming in, and then we have them sit down, and then they fill out some paperwork, and we ask them if they want some coffee, do they want some water, do they want some fresh baked something or other that one of our Vietnam vets, Roy, almost makes almost every day. So they're coming into just this warmth, right? They're warmth. And we call them by name, and so many hugs, right? So many hugs. And when they're filling out the paperwork, we're looking into where their issues are, right? Where the needs aren't being met outside of just the stuff that they're going to get when they go in there. So when they go in there, they're going to get shirts, they're going to get sweatshirts, they're going to get coats depending on the season. They're going to get sneakers, work boots, fresh produce, food from our pantry, personal hygiene products. They're going to get, cleaning products, paper goods. They're going to get all of that. They're going to get it, and it's free. So we're going to bag that stuff up, and they're going to leave. So we like to say it's Christmas every day and it's Veterans Day every day. So they're going to leave with necessities, but we also have some really fun things that they might need for their kids or for them. And we also have an Amazon wish list. So if there's something that's not in the center, we'll put it on a wish list. So someone like your listeners or your viewers can go on our Amazon wish list. They can get something. If they've got a special military branch, say, for me, it's the Marine Corps, even though I don't have any favorites. I can't have favorites, but the Marine Corps, because my grandfather was a Marine, and the store was actually opened in honor of my grandfather, who was a Marine. He's since passed. Always a Marine. He's always a Marine. So even up there, he's a Marine. And my Uncle Tony also was in there. He was in the Army, but he passed away in the war. So the center was open in honor of both of them. But I never knew my Uncle Tony. So they're going to go in, and this is a really important thing, because when my grandfather was alive, he suffered so horrifically with moral injury. And moral injury is big. People don't understand moral injury, right? I mean, we know you don't hurt anybody, right? We know it's in us. It's innate. You don't want to go and murder someone, but he had to survive and to protect his brothers in arms. He had to. So he lived with that. He lived with the trauma of the war. There was a tsunami. I mean, I just can't remember all the things that he told me, but he was in Guadalcanal. It was just horrific, right? And then he comes home to find out that his brother passed, and then his father passed. And he's living with that. My mom, who passed away just almost 2 years ago, is named after my uncle, Tony. So there's tremendous grief in my household. And I'm going to just shut that off of you. Sorry. There's tremendous grief that I grew up. I grew up in a multi-generational home. There was tremendous grief that we all felt, even though there was tremendous love. But as much as I loved my grandfather, I couldn't help him. And that was heartbreaking. Because I saw him when he took a nap on the couch, and he would jump up like and just with this start and there would be this scream. And I just wanted to hold him and get rid of that pain. And there was nothing that I could do. It was so heartbreaking. And he would drink, and that was back then they didn't know post-traumatic stress. They didn't diagnose him. So every veteran who comes in, every single one, I think, Pop, I'm doing this for you because I couldn't help you, I couldn't. So it's such a gift. It really is. It's such a gift to love on our service members, our veterans, to not only say thank you for, sorry about that, the phone's going off, not only thank you for your service, but showing that gratitude, because at VMC, we know our freedom's not free. We know that. And that is something that we show our gratitude over every single day.
Powerful.
And it goes so beyond that, because we help them with a lot of services. We connect them to services that are all throughout the capital region that they just don't know about,
What you said resonated with me. I have such respect for veterans. I am someone who really believes in democracy in America as this idea, we're still figuring it out, and our veterans are so much part of the story of how we've built this nation. And so I just think of, it's what I thought of is just it made me feel good that there's someone like you who really understands and respects them and gives them that dignity, and it makes me feel good just as an American, to know there's someone like you, and I'm sure many of the people that you work with.
One question that came to mind, and you've answered this already, but I think it's so important to really hone in on what you've been saying, which is you provide not only these physical and much needed services, but the emotional and energetic side of this, right, is also so very much important from the moment they walk through the door. I love that you're mentioning love. I love that you're talking about hugs. I love that you're talking about the way the individual feels, right, when they come into your space. And so I just want to make sure that we mention that again, and that we understand the importance of it's just more than just things, right? There's so much more to it than that.
When you think about it, their experience is so different than most of the people they're walking down the street passing, right? I don't know what I'm not sure what percentage, I don't want to put you on spot, but the percentage of veterans that are out there compared to our, larger population, when you're walking down the street, if as a veteran who's gone through whatever it is that they've gone through, or just that experience, not many people know what that is. And so there's probably a feeling of like being alone that can really impact their mental stability, or just how they feel about themselves, and like what you were talking about,
moral injury.
I had not really thought about that, and what that will do to a person just in your everyday life, because most people are not going to understand what that feels like.
No.
Yeah.
There's so many different, just like there are so many different kinds of people out here, and we do so many different jobs. There are people who do different things. Not everybody was deployed, right? But everybody is so necessary. And so often one of the things I deal with is someone says, well, I was just right? Just something in the Army, right? I just did the mail, or I just did whatever it was. And we're like, wait a minute, it's a family, it's a unit, and every single person is necessary in whatever it is, whatever situation it is, within the Army, within the Navy, within the Air Force, within the Marines, within the Coast Guard, right? Or everybody is needed, and everybody's equally important. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is and it's 1% of our population that signs up to be in the military, when they sign on that dotted line, they're giving away every single right, and they're not committed to a party, and their lives belong to the United States, to the government, and whoever's president whether they're Republican or Democrat, no matter what, they're signing away and saying, I am going to protect our freedom and our ways of life wherever you send me, right? So it's pretty spectacular. Someone who's willing to lay down their life, right, for you, for me, for our country. That's an extraordinary human to me. That's really extraordinary. So with every person that comes in, there's gratitude, and with one thing that you think of, Arifa, was the energy that we bring. A lot of my job is reading people, right? It's not just bringing the love, it's looking deeper into that human soul. It's looking in there and seeing, okay, the first question, how are you doing? What's the response to that? How are you doing? Well, I'm all right. I'm all right. Okay. Well, why aren't we good today? What's going on behind that? So there's a slight, I'm never pushy. It's always, just very gentle. And sometimes I'll say, well, look, come on, let me get you this. Let's get you a cup of coffee. Let's get you a cookie, whatever it is, right? And then we'll help you shop. And here's one of our team. They're going to help you around. And then I'll come over again and I'll just check on them and just ask questions. And that's one of the reasons we have the form too, is so that we can look and see. And eventually they feel safe. Like that's a big thing for me. I want them to feel safe, and they'll open up about what's going on in their life. So let me give you an example. This beautiful veteran, she came in and she was having a hard time getting to us, and she kept calling because she kept getting lost. And so she finally got there. She got there really late. It was like a half an hour before we were closing, 45 minutes before we were closing. We're like, take your time. And she's filling out the sheets, and she's not filling out her address. So I asked her, I said, honey, where are you living there? You got we just need your address. And she goes, well, I'm at a homeless shelter right now. I said, oh, okay. Okay. So we helped her shop. And when she came back around, it was 3:45, and we had already closed at 3:00. But we're there, we're there for her, and we're there with her. I said, so love, what shelter are you going to? I always call our vets everything. I mean, they feel like my kids. I don't care what age they are. They could be 95. I'm calling them sweetheart, honey. I'm always on. And she goes, well, and she just looked down and she goes, I haven't found one yet. I've been living in my car. And can I tell you, like, what that does to you when you realize, oh my God, I've got a safe place to go to after this. And she's been living in her car for God knows how long. So I'm immediately on the phone. I call Scott Leslie, who's the director of the Albany Service Bureau. I'm like, Scott, I got this veteran in this, but she had just had all her teeth pulled. I mean, it was just like, oh, my heart, I said, we got to what can we do? What can we do? And he goes, get her out right now. I mean, it's like right now. And I'm like, all right, everybody, get all her stuff, get her. We got to send her to DSS. She's got to drive to DSS because they can support her. And so long story short, we all run out there. I'm giving her hugs, saying it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We got you. Here's a card. You call us if you need us. And they ended up getting her into a motel. So she was in a motel, I think, for 2 weeks. We gave her plenty of food. He gave her a gift card so she could have food. And then he got her into a safe place. He got her into a safe place. And that's like, we did our job. So it's not just, everybody say, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm good. But it's seeing beyond whatever that answer is and looking into someone's eyes. Their eyes are the windows of people's souls, and you can see, I can feel pain. I can feel their pain. I can feel the struggle. So my heart is always, where else can we serve you beyond what's in the store? How else can we serve you? How can we get you in a safe place? And that's happened many times.
That's amazing, Stacey. As I'm listening and feeling everything that you're sharing and putting myself there, right, as well. One theme that kind of goes through on our conversation with myself and Diane and our guests, as well as all of this amazing work that we do and the incredible people that we serve. How do we how do we continue to take care of ourselves in a way that allows us to continue to serve them? And so that's a question I have for you is, at the end of the day or the week, how do you rejuvenate your spirit and your energy to be able to come back and do it again? Even though we know that the days are hard and some days are better than others, but how do you take care of yourself in order to continue to serve?
When I drive home, I scream sometimes and cry in the car. I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm gonna be totally real. Like you can see right here, I got a stress ball in my hand. That is something that I need, right? I need that. I need that. In my office, which a very small office, I'm not in my office right now, I'm borrowing somebody's office because I don't have good Wi-Fi in mine. I have a small TV set. I have Frasier on in there. And Frasier just makes me laugh. So I go in because, it gets heavy. It gets heavy, not just emotionally, but with responsibility. Very heavy. So I'll go in. I will just watch a little bit. I will laugh to shift my energy back into a space of joy so I can go back out there. I have a lot of things. I also have a pause app. My faith is really important to me. I wouldn't be able to do this without my faith. I would not be able to do this without my faith. Built VMC, and I just wouldn't be able to do it. So I have a pause app, and in that pause app, it's just a 1-minute pause, and I just press that, and it's just literally, God, I give everyone and everything to you, and it's just this really peaceful, very peaceful time. I do that in the mornings when I'm doing my devotionals. It's just there. I just have to be grounded, and I'm grounded in my faith. But I get shaken. I get shaken daily. So I do have to have those little things that keep me going. Man, the hugs do good for me too, guys. The hugs are good for me.
Yeah.
Those hugs are good for me, and my volunteers. Oh my God. Just seeing them give and they're not getting a paycheck, man, that just warms my heart. My team, the people, my family, the VMC is a family, so just being with them, giving them a hug, serving them, right? Those things just keep my heart happy. The feedback, I'm always listening to feedback, right? Feedback's so important. I did 3 years of emotional intelligence training, part of it as a student, part of it as a coach, part of it as a leader of the training. And I learned that everything in life is feedback, right? So I'm always looking for ways that I can shift, right? Where can I shift? What is the general feedback here, right? And what feedback am I getting from the vets? What feedback am I getting from my employees, right? What feedback am I getting from outside of here? Because there's always opportunities to grow, and I'm always looking for ways to grow and make VMC better, to make myself better, right? It's not so much better. I don't like that word. Just higher possibilities. Let's say that. There are always higher possibilities in each circumstance. So I'm always looking for the higher possibility, right? So someone like one of my workers might look at me and, look at me a certain way. And I'm like, all right, come here. Let's go talk. Let me see what's going on here. Right. So it's just about being in that space where looking that life is always mirroring, right? There's always a mirror. You guys are a mirror to me right now, right? I'm mirroring you right now. What can I glean from you? What can I learn from you? So being in that place of student is really supportive for me. Always, always, always learning. Staying in a space of, one of my favorite quotes by C.S. Lewis is, I've never met a mere human. So living in curiosity and wonder, and each person that comes in, looking at their, your faces are so beautiful. People are so beautiful, so unique. So being in that space of wonder and love and curiosity, it's just, that keeps me, that artistic side, Arifa, we bonded over that. I'm an art school girl. So looking at the beauty of God's creation and that human in front of me, is like, ooh, how can I support you? How can I serve you? And it just becomes just like, I don't know, like some deep spiritual experience. So when I look at the work that I'm doing as something beyond a job, beyond work, but this connection, this
Yeah.
extraordinary connection that fires me up, right? That fires me up. And listening to the vets and what they're saying after, saying, this is the only place I feel valued. This is the only place that I look forward to coming here every 4 months, because we have a van too that goes out and picks our vets up and brings them in. So every 4 months is like they're excited about coming to see us, and that keeps me going. You know, those are beautiful things.
Yeah, I was thinking about just when you were talking about you have vets come and you immediately need to call or resource, and so I'm just curious who are those other people who are part, like how do you connect with people? What are some of the services that you offer, and who are those partners that you're partnering with?
Oh man, yeah. So well, I love when anybody partners with us. You guys are partnering with us right now, right? You're getting our word out. So partners are
Yeah,
amazing. I love
yeah,
partners.
yeah,
In the veteran world, when it comes to the capital region, obviously there's the VA, which is extraordinary. We have Albany Housing Coalition, again, extraordinary. So they're supporting us with housing, and we're getting them connected to vets. I mean, we're getting them connected to vets that are in our center who need support from them. A VCHC, Veterans Community Housing Coalition, again, big with housing and supporting Soldier On, again. So those are connects. Those are places that we connect with. Albany, as I was saying, Scott Leslie, he's amazing. He's the director of the Albany County Service Bureau. Beautiful, beautiful human. He supports us I talk to Scott almost daily. There's certain people that I talk to almost daily, you know.
yeah.
So those are people that we can connect our veterans to, for like say housing grants, housing, anything. And then we also have, equine programs. We have Operation Adopt a Soldier that we work closely with. We're constantly giving them things to send to our deployed. We got Operation at Ease with a really good friend, Joni. She helps with service animals. There's so many. But
Yeah.
another thing that we do directly is in our paperwork, we will connect a veteran with someone who's going to look over the insurance that they have and to see if they've got the best insurance. And if they don't, we just did a podcast on this. They can shift their insurance so that they're getting more money. We recently had a vet who was only getting, I think, $60 a month, and now he's getting $230 or more. So that was a big change,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah.
change. One of the more powerful stories, and there's so many,
I believe it.
Yeah.
is when a mom came in who was a widow. Her husband had just passed away. It was like 6 months prior. And a lot of our veteran organizations do not take care of widows. Okay, they don't, but we do. She had come in with 9 of her children. She had 15 kids, all with her husband. And she came in and she told me this story about how her husband wasn't feeling well, and he just went to go lay down, and he had a heart attack and he died right there, like that. It was that fast. And talk about grief, right? She was just crying, and of course I just held her. What can you do in the face of something that excruciating? You know, that's something we all have in common, is experience tremendous grief, right? So I was just holding her as she cried, and I'm looking at her babies. You know, they were aged 15 to 6 that actually saw their dad pass, you know. And of course, you know, my beautiful team, we all just jumped in high gear. It's like, how can we serve this family? And I just heard this crazy, this is so crazy. I love these miracle moments. That's why Miracle's our middle name. This was like, I think on a Tuesday or something, and I had just gotten a call that Friday that somebody had wanted to donate some big boxes of children's clothes. Now, we don't serve that many kids that we have space where we can store, right? Where we can store this. But, you know, I just felt really strongly, yeah, we'll take those. Absolutely. They're new clothes. We'll take those. So we had just picked them up the day before. So they were here, big, huge bins of brand new clothes, kids' clothes, right? And in walks this mama with like with her little ducklings, you know. It was right, and they come in. We pull those out, and we were like, okay, who is this gonna fit? Who is this gonna fit? And the kids were just like so excited, and they're walking around, and we're showing because we have got toys for the kids, we've got stuffed animals, we've got makeup for the older girls. We had everything. They were just into everything, and we all gave them all bags. They all had name tags. They were filling their stuff, and they were there for over an hour. And of course the mama was spoiled as well, and we got them fresh produce, tons of fresh produce, lots of food. They got everything that they needed. And just before they left, I asked their mom, I said, can I give them some candy? And they said, and she goes, yeah. So I walked over. We had tons of candy, but I saw these Swedish fish, and I just thought, I'm going to grab a whole thing of Swedish fish. And I grab it, and I bring it over, and I said, who wants Swedish fish? And they were like, I do. And then the little one said to me, that was my dad's favorite candy, the Swedish fish. That was my dad's favorite candy. And I was like, miracles, wow. Right? Miracles. So they all got the Swedish fish, and I called the mom later on. The next day I called her and I said, how are the kids doing? You know, how are you doing? She said, it was like Christmas last night. They all brought out all of their stuff. And for just that little while, the grief wasn't right at the forefront, right? They were able to feel what it felt like to be kids again for just a little while. That it was that Christmas that night for them. And that's why we do what we do. You know, that's why we do what we do.
And it leaves an imprint
on
kids.
Stories. Yeah.
It leaves an imprint on kids. You just think about good and bad things, but that's definitely something that will carry with them for their life, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
That moment.
Yeah. Yes.
In the work that you do, Stacey, are there any some of the biggest needs that you've noticed, that the services that you've helped with, and big and small, and all of it matters, but what are some of the biggest needs our veterans face that folks may not notice or realize?
Oh, absolutely 100% connection. They need connection. They need to feel appreciated and loved. And it's, you know, a lot of us, all my life, I grew up saying thank you for your service. You know, that's just how I was raised, and there was a sensitivity to that. But this is something that a lot of people don't realize, that the military is a family. It's a family, right? It's a real family, and everything's taken care of, right? Everything's very regimented, very routinized, and you do this and you do that at this time, and everything's right. And then you come out, right? Even if you don't, even if someone's not deployed, when you come out of service and try to adjust to civilian life, where everything's not taken care of, right? And all of a sudden you're faced with enormous responsibilities. And a lot of them are going to have post-traumatic stress. A lot of them are going to be dealing with moral injury. And a lot of them are just going to be dealing with profound loneliness, you know? And that profound loneliness is what's leading to suicide, right? And there are way too many veteran suicides. 22 a day is not the right number. It's way more than that, you know? So that's something that a lot of people don't think of. They don't think of, I mean, just think of, like, you can think of, say, when you move away, right? You move from a certain space and you had all your friends there and you had some family there, and you go there and there's this loneliness, right? There's that's a piece of it. But a lot of it is just, you know, military is a very different experience, because when you're going into boot camp, they're rewiring your brain, you know, they're changing you. You are not the same person who went in. You are not that person anymore. You're not. So imagine coming back into a world that you left a different person. You know, that's a huge stress. It's a huge stress.
Yeah. That's that kind of like what I was saying before, just you're walking amongst people who have no idea what you've gone through or what you're going through. And that, like you said, it's almost like a new filter through life,
Yeah.
right? And so
Absolutely.
organizations like yourself, like yours, help sort of re-enter in many respects. Maybe sometimes it's beyond, it's a point where bad things have happened and they're seeking help, but it's helping them get stabilized. And I think that's so important.
Yeah.
You talk about connection, and one of the things that we really want to bring to this podcast is those connections, community. They're a very specific community that not everybody's going to understand, but it takes is a civilian to reach out and say thank you for your service, or just have a conversation. I'll just say,
I always bow
yeah,
in it. Like almost
yeah,
like the I was in Japan. It was, it's
yes,
there's there's reverence, for the
yeah,
human that you are, It really is. It's just like thank you so much when I say it. But it's beautiful, Diane, because I'm realizing that you're bringing us kind of full circle here, because I met Arifa when she was putting on that art event, and art is so tremendously healing, so healing, right? It's
absolutely.
and art therapy, and she put on this extraordinary event, and the veterans felt safe, and they're creating. There's nothing like creating, right? to
Right.
to release. Like I used to be a photojournalist. I remember I was a part of Operation Song, where these veterans who had been deployed and seen war were releasing those emotions into music. And I love writing songs. It's one of I love art in general. It's every kind of bit of creation is just fantastic. So when I met Arifa and she was telling me that she was having this event, it was just like this explosion of hearts and just uniting into purpose. And that's what's so beautiful, that I think that's where that immediate bond happened, because that event meant so much to me, right? It meant so much to me in the work that I do. And I could see how veterans were able to release some of that stuff that they carry, some of that tremendous emotional weight that they carry. So that was,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
It was an amazing event.
It really was.
To what Stacey was saying, being able to just be a student and sit there and listen, and be present with them, to connect, and to be in a space where we all felt seen and heard, right? And it was one of our best, truly.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And
Wow.
it's so important. I mean, I had veterans in my family, and I had veterans of World War II, Vietnam, the Korean War with my father. And there just is you sometimes need to have, for some people, you really need to have that veteran in your life to really understand what that's like. And my uncle, who was in World War II, he passed away before I really had knowledge of what it was he did,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
knowing, just hearing the stories of how he came back and he never wanted to talk about it ever again. And he was a sharpshooter. So what you were talking about before injury, yeah, I never had a term for it until today.
Yeah.
And he's now gone, but I will tell you, he was the happiest person you'd ever know. He was always laughing and smiling. But my dad said when he came back, the one thing was you could never talk to him about the war. But I think it's important. These conversations are important to, again, like Reepa said, we're trying to find connections. We try to connect people, but also to inform people. If you haven't had a veteran in your life, to inform them what that is, to inform that pride that they have. But for those who actually were in combat, there's pride, but it's almost overshadowed by, I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about the war, or whatever mechanisms they come up with to manage that, what it is that they're going through. So it's important. So important.
Oh yeah, we have a profound. I share this with all of my team. We lead with love, but just show profound mercy and grace. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got veterans that are addicted, and they're coming in, and sometimes they're drinking, and it's like, you know what? Sometimes one of them will, pipe up and go, I thought they can't be here when, they're under the influence. I'm like, no, this is the safe place.
Right.
You get to be safe, and you get to realize that you're loved just as you are, and you don't have to change anything. Now, do I want you to get healthy and whole? Yes, absolutely. But you don't have to change a thing for us to love on you, right? That's
Right.
just the way we
Right.
roll. You do not have to change your behavior. You don't have to hide what's hurting you. You get to come in authentic, and we're going to greet you with that same love that we would greet everybody.
Yeah.
They're all treated the same,
Yeah.
just respect, that's
Yeah.
respect
Absolutely.
for humanity, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Can you tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the podcast you mentioned earlier, Stacey?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. The podcast was something that just happened spontaneously. When I first started, it was less than 2 years ago when I first took over the position. I had just started our own coffee company called Veterans Miracle Coffee. And so my community relations director, Michelle, I said to her, hey, why don't we go live on Facebook and try to sell our coffee? And she goes, okay, sure. Now, Glinda the Good Witch here I was walking around with a pink tutu on. I think I had my hair in ponytails. I'm like, come on, let's just go on and let's be silly, and that's where it started, because you ask how I cope. It's fun. We are dead serious about what we do, but I'm also really serious about having fun and spreading joy. So here we are, goofy as heck, selling coffee. I don't even think we said we're from Veterans Miracle Center, said anything about it. It just went on, and other than it's raising money for veterans. Hilarious. I got to go back and look at it because it was funny, but there was like that immediate connection that Michelle and I had, because, obviously our passion for veterans and stuff was there. So we were just, being very goofy, and Michelle got some calls later and said, Michelle, you changed jobs. Are you selling coffee now? So it was very funny, and yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's funny, but it just started. We realized that, it's wild, but I learned this during my trainings. It's that it's about you. It's about I represent BMC, right? So it's my passion that's going to ignite the passion in others, right? So I thought it's really important that I'm on there, that Michelle's on there, that we have a really funny saying that I said one day during a podcast: we will do everything short of prostitution to serve our vets. That became really repeated all the time. But so the podcast just became this opportunity for people to come in to our living room, to be a part of our family, to meet some of the beautiful people that are there, right? To highlight some of the veteran experiences, which we've done, quite often. But it is just when people walk in, they don't want to leave. And so what our thinking is, well, if you come in via our podcast, you'll get to experience what they experience, and you're going to want to come visit us, right? And you're going to want to join our mission and be boots on the ground with us. So that is on YouTube, that's on our Facebook, where we're usually like maybe once a week, or sometimes it goes a little bit longer depending on our schedule. We'll show up on Facebook Live. Sometimes we pre-record it and then release some, but it's a lot of fun. Our podcast is a lot of fun.
It sounds
That's
very
great.
authentic as well to what you were talking about. Just
Yeah.
the authenticity of like, this is our space and
Yeah.
our home, and this is what you're going to get when you walk in. And
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
No,
Yeah. It's creating
Yes.
that connection. It's just,
Yes.
that's what that's what's great about it. It's creating
Yeah.
connection, almost like where people might not even think about, a podcast, that even if when you're watching it, you just feel connected in that community.
Like we're there with Stacey, and
Yes.
we're there know, the folks in the room and
Right.
Michelle and you know, the veterans who come in, like we're just there, like you said, Stacey, in the living room with you all,
Yeah.
right?
And
You reminded me of something that we used to do in my next level trainings that we did, the emotional intelligence transformational trainings. And so often there are certain of us, I love the Enneagram. I don't know if you guys know it, but the Enneagram's an
oh,
amazing
yes, yes.
tool,
Uh-huh.
right? I
Yeah.
love the Enneagram. I'm a 4-wing 5, and it's so
I can't say what I am, but
okay. So
been a
I'm
while.
very heart centered, right? The 2, 3,
Hmm.
4s
Yeah.
are in the heart. So it's more natural to me. But for those who are body types or mind types, there's an exercise we used to do, and we used to have to do it on Zoom in front of people so that people could actually see the shift, where we would put our hands on our hearts, and we would focus on something, like say, I am feeling gratitude, and it was just this place of where you're shifting from the head into the heart, and it was this really, like, I could feel it, like I felt it the first time I did it, where I just, taking a deep breath, and I'm shifting from this mind space into my heart, and I am creating gratitude, or whatever it is we need in our lives. Like, I am creating love, I'm creating joy, I am creating peace, and that it's so easy. Well, it's not easy. I have to say, a lot of people we're so stuck in here, and we're so angry about what's going on in the world, or we're so frustrated about our significant other or our kids or whatever it is, right? But just taking that moment, the breath work is so important, right? And just inhaling deeply, a count to 4, whatever it is, and you can hold it for 7 and exhale for 8, whatever it is that you need, or box breathing. It's that breathing and shifting from this'll just, that's where all those nasty thoughts and just gets, it's too crowded in there, and it's too chaotic, and just bringing it back into the heart. And the heart's that source of love, and it's that place that we can connect with others on so many levels that are so, what do you say, uniting, right?
Hmm.
So unifying, where we're in a space of where, like, we are so the same, even though we're so unique, right? And it's
Right.
just, that's a beautiful place to live.
And just to summarize that, because you've shared a practice that I hope that folks, watching or listening can take away with them, which is taking a minute, right? And of course, we acknowledge that sometimes it's hard to even just take a minute for yourself, but trying to take a minute to just take a deep breath and affirm what you want to receive, right? And
Absolutely.
breathing in and out, and breathing in what you want, right? I am safe, or I am loved, and affirming that with the words I am. And I just love that we're
Wow.
talking about this, because we brought it up at our last episode as well, and we want to continue to talk
Yeah.
about the importance of words and deep breathing. But feel inspired enough to just take 1 minute to just take a deep breath, and 1 minute to just try to clear that clutter away, and then move forward after that. It really does make a difference. And yes, it's
Yes.
difficult, but it does help. And so hopefully our audience can continue that little bit with them. No, go
Yeah,
ahead,
just,
Stacey.
I was just gonna
There's a
read
lot,
it
so
again, right? Attract what you expect,
read it
reflect
again.
what you desire, right?
Yes.
Become what you respect, and mirror what you admire, right? Go back to that, and it's everything.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And I just want to make sure that we will be sharing all the links that we've talked about today. And
Yes.
is
Yeah.
there any other way that our civilian community or our partners listening, that we can continue to support VMC, or any other plugs you want to put in, like the podcast, or anything else that you want to share before we wrap up?
Sure, absolutely. So check us out on all of our social media pages, because that's where we're going to talk about events and things that we're doing throughout the year. Definitely check out we're going to be launching our new website, but definitely check there for events as well. We're also doing a partnership with Cash for Cars. So we're going to donate our second car to a vet this week. I'm so
That's
excited
amazing.
about it. Oh, last
That is
It's
amazing.
so amazing. So if you got a broken down car and beat up car, give us a call. We will actually go and pick it up for you. Yeah, and if you have just a car to donate, that's fantastic. Oh my God! Last week we donated a car. It was a week and a half ago. We donated a car to a mom with 5 children with no car. Can you imagine? So much about that. But anyway, yeah. So Cash for Cars. Let's see what else. Oh, buy our coffee, Veterans Miracle Coffee. That's a fundraiser that we have all the time, and that's a big support. 100% of the profits go right back to VMC. Nobody takes any money off of that. Also, come visit us. We are at 10 Interstate Avenue in Albany, New York. We are the first of its kind. We have one very small place in Erie, Pennsylvania, who did a version of VMC there, but we are the OG, and there's a small one in Erie, Pennsylvania. But yeah, definitely come and visit us, experience it, come volunteer. There are all kinds of ways to volunteer, so we can give you like we do clink bags. People can collect them and donate to VMC. Clothing donation boxes, definitely drop off clothes there because that supports us. Yeah, there are just so many ways to get involved. So the best way is to give us a call, and we're all there. We're real. My team is beautiful. I cannot do this without my team. They are a bunch of beautiful, beautiful humans that I'm so grateful to have with me on this journey. So yeah.
That's amazing. Well, hopefully maybe there's a listener out there is inspired and will start their own in their area. You never know. You may have planted a seed for someone.
It's a call. We're so open to franchising. That was part of my vision, from a long time ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stacey. I can confirm that you and your team are incredible, stupendous, amazing, and just beautiful. I just cannot thank you enough for sharing this space with us.
Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
You can follow the Tengu Center on Instagram at _Tengu_Center, as well as on Facebook and at thetengucenter.org. Until next time.
Center yourself and expand in community.